Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about our top 3 dives we did while visiting Raja Ampat. If you saw in our previous video, Raja Ampat is in West Papua and is probably the most remote we've ever been. It is famous for its scuba diving. It's known to have the most biodiversity of any place in the world. So we were really excited to go check it out. While there, we did a total of 8 dives. So we did quite a bit of diving, and the diving there was really good. We saw so many things that we didn't even know existed in the wild. Once again, we're still fairly newbie. After Raja Ampat, I have 23 dives and Alex has 20 dives.
Which means I think that we're no longer beginners.
Woohoo! All right, so let's dive right in. Let's talk about our top 3 dives. Number 3, Melissa's Garden.
Melissa's Garden was really amazing. You don't go too deep, and so the water was actually incredibly clear the day that we were there. And I think more than anything, you just see so much beautiful coral reef there. It's just everywhere. And so that's like one of the main highlights of Melissa's Garden. Another one is the schools of fish. I just couldn't believe, like, everywhere you look, it's just like huge schools of fish to your front, to your side. You turn around and there's more fish. They're just everywhere and they're just so beautiful.
Yeah, and our guide said that Melissa's Garden, it has the highest concentration of coral of anywhere in the world. So, and I would believe it after we did it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And we also saw about 6 black-tip reef sharks, and we saw a stonefish, and we saw some really funky nudibranchs.
We also saw one of my favorites, which is the eel. And we also saw Christmas tree worms. Number 2, Blue Magic.
This is a very famous dive in Raja Ampat. It's on the top 3 list. Actually, Melissa's Garden was on the top 3 list too, according to our guide. Yeah. So, I mean, within our favorites is 2 of the top dives that are like known in Raja Ampat. So Blue Magic is actually considered an advanced level dive. The current was definitely very strong there. So our dive was actually cut short as a result of this, but we still saw a ton, even though it was such a short dive. So honestly, this one could have been number 1 if we were able to complete the full dive.
So for some reason, I tend to go through air a lot quicker than Liz and the other people that we were diving with. So all the dives that we did, I had to go up much earlier than everyone else. Just as I reached 50 bar and I was ready to head up to the surface, I saw everybody gather around this rock. And I'm like, there is something going on there. I have to go see it. I was already at my limit where I needed to turn around and head to the surface, but I was like, I just have to see what's there. So I start swimming and swimming and swimming and fighting the current. And I finally get there and people point out this thing, which is a woebegone shark. This is the symbol for it, and it's just so weird looking. It's like this flat looking with a beard, and it's just like hanging out under this rock. It was really interesting looking.
Yeah, I was there quite a bit before Alex, and I was so excited. I literally shrieked out and couldn't stop shrieking because to me, it looks like the flying dog from Neverending Story. Does anybody else see the similarity? Because I feel like there's definitely a similarity. It feels like even the personality of it. I don't know. I think they're so cute.
We also saw 2 blue spotted stingrays and a pregnant pygmy seahorse, which was incredibly difficult to see. It's really tiny. And I didn't know it was pregnant, but apparently...
I don't know how the guide found out it was pregnant.
No idea.
We also saw tons of schools of big fish, a giant eel, and even a sea turtle. All right, finally, our number 1 dive we did while in Raja Ampat, Cape Kree. Now this one surprised us because it isn't on like the top 3 dives list, but it was just an incredible dive. It was our deepest dive we've ever done. We went down to 105 feet. but the visibility was absolutely insane. The number one thing we saw on this dive was a giant marble stingray.
Liz got really excited when she saw it. It looks like a very big stingray, but almost with like a hump.
It was huge, and the eyes were just like, you could see them closing, and I don't know, they were just so really cool. We also saw one white tip reef shark, which was the first white tip reef shark we've seen so far in Indonesia. All of them have been primarily the black tip reef shark, but we also saw about 7 to 8 black tip reef sharks on this dive as well. And 1 or 2 at the end near my rest stop just kept like swimming around me, which was really cool. I also had a sea turtle sitting around with me.
So we also saw several moray eels, which once again are one of my favorite things to see. We also saw some trumpet fish or needlefish. We're not really sure which one it is. They look kind of similar.
Yeah, we saw schools of barracuda, schools of other big fish. There were just so many schools of fish on this dive. I also saw, I'm not sure I got it on camera, a big fish that had another fish in its mouth, which I thought was really cool. Apparently, according to the guide, it like cleans its mouth. They have like a symbiotic relationship. All right, so that's it. Those are our top dives we did while in Raja Ampat. Bear in mind, this is just based on our experience, and each day, you can have a different dive experience. I'm sure like Sardine and some of those other dives we did, someone else could do it and just have the most epic dive ever. This was just our experience that day when we went.
The other 5 dives that we did include Lumba Lumba, the Freewind Wall, Murascal Reef, Sardine, and just some night dives out in front of our dive resort. And I think of those, I would give the honorable mention to Sardine, just because the water was so clear.
The diving in Raja Ampat is great anyway, so even like those dives that didn't make our top 3 compared to other places in the world are probably considered really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's beautiful, schools of fish everywhere, amazing coral. So I would definitely recommend diving in Raja Ampat. It was great. It's very remote and hard to get to, and we're actually creating a separate video where we'll dive into some of the negatives as well as the pros of visiting Raja Ampat and just some impressions we have. So stay tuned for that. That'll be the next video.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about our favorite animals that we saw. So, what were your favorite animals?
Blue marbled stingray comes to mind. That was so cool. And the woebegone. I was unbelievably excited to see the woebegone shark. They're just so cute. I like pufferfish too. We saw a lot of pufferfish. Those are really just cute. I like seeing the sharks a lot.
Yeah.
I was used to be terrified of sharks growing up. I think I watched way too much shark attack videos, and I was always terrified of them, but from what I've observed, they actually are kind of chicken, at least the type we've seen.
I think my favorite is still eels, and I don't really know why. It may have something to do with the fact that I grew up playing Super Mario on Nintendo 64, and I just really, I think they're just funny looking. They have that really odd blend of cute and ugly, which seem like opposites, but somehow they pull it off. I also really like the pufferfish, the woebegone shark, and the
Crocodile fish was cool too.
Oh yeah, crocodile fish was really cool.
So we really enjoy diving. We've dived now 14 dives in our 1 month in Indonesia. So we've done a lot of diving.
So I know our name is Pursuing Mountains, and we do intend to do some mountains. We just haven't had a lot of opportunities to do that, although we do have 2 coming up in future videos that we've already done, and then we'll post about them probably in some later videos. And we are planning on doing more treks and mountains later on in our travels.
But in case you haven't surmised from our intro video, Pursuing Mountains doesn't necessarily mean mountains. It means pursuing goals and facing challenges and fears head on and just living life to the fullest. And so we thought mountains was kind of represented all of that.
Yeah, it's both literal and figurative because we are going to be doing more mountains. Just we hadn't planned on doing so many here in Indonesia.
All right, we'll see you on the next episode.